Hey everybody, Master Dan here. Just wanted to show you what we've been up to for Season 2 of Shinobi Online Adventure. One of the first things you're going to notice is when you log into the game, we've revamped the Select Your Character screen. This is what you see instantly when you log in, excluding some admin verbs, which you can't see. One of the things we wanted to overhaul was the Create Your Character window. So if you see here under New Character, you'll notice it says 35 Prestige. The Prestige system is something we wanted to add in to reward people that play multiple seasons or who make lots of characters and play the power users. So basically, as you delete characters, your slot of your 3 slots will gain Prestige. So a level 70 character will give you 5 Prestige, a level 50 will give you 3, below 50 won't give you any. So it really rewards you for getting to the late game with the character. And if you end a season, you'll get an extra 2 Prestige for wiping out a character that you had to because your season ended. So here you see I've set the Prestige to the slot to 35. That's going to give me some minor perks when I create a character. I'll show you here. So you hit New. Great. So the first thing comes up. It notices you have some Prestige points to spend. There's a whole bunch of things you can get. We can get some extra, starting skill points to unlock some skills early on. We can make it so we get an extra mastery slot that we start the game with, which is really important, but very expensive. We can cost 25 prestige points just for that one. We can increase our starting health, or our as a percentage, our health and chakra, make our characters a little bit more buff and a bit more capacity. Make it so our supplies that we pick up are increased off the ground, which is kind of a funny one, but if you're making a weapons build, that might be really valuable, especially for long fights. And one of the cool ones here, there's a bunch of these, right? Start with bonus points in all stats, so 1 reflex, strength, con, and intelligence. You can do that up to 5 times. Just a nice early boost, help you get through some of the, let your character min-max a little further. Quick study. So a lot of these skills, you notice they actually increase the cost of experience to level up. So right now, not only am I spending these prestige points for some very minor benefits, but it's making it harder to level up. 6% additional experience cost. So this isn't a free lunch for people that grind the game too much. It makes the game a little harder to progress. Works for power users really well. If you want to go the other direction, you can spend your prestige points to make it easier to level up. Every one of these cuts the cost by 0.5%. So you can invest your points to either offset your experience cost increase, or you could actually just dump it into this to make alts and slightly improve your speed of leveling up. One I really like, unlimited potential increases your level cap. So if the level cap right now is just 100, we're kind of getting away from the gradually increasing level cap so that people who play at different paces can play as hard as they want to without being punished. But the level cap's 100, you can get all the way to 110 if you increase your level cap through this mechanism. You'll notice a lot of these, they increase the cost as you get more and more points into them. So anyway, for fun, I also want to show advanced cosmetics. Advanced cosmetics just allows you to do more in the character creation, mostly to do with eyes and the whites of your eyes changing color. So if you want to make it look like you've got 2 different colored eyes, you want to look like Kakuzu and have the black whites of his eyes, you can do that if you unlock advanced cosmetics. If I continue to the character creation, you can see we got the female base icon finally, which is great. Although the default has a male shirt right now, so we'll have to fix that. But underneath, there's the female base icon. You can see your character from all angles as you're creating your character. Follow through, pick your village. Same 3 villages. Let's go to Konoha, the best village. Pick your clan. Let's make our character a genius. Why not? But it shows descriptions, as you can see, for every clan as you click on them. It gives you a bit of an idea. It's very similar to their old character creation system, just a little bit slicker. But we'll pick Genius, because I like having the additional passive points and the additional skill points. Masteries. Pick your skin tone. I think I'll add a few. I don't think we have enough skin tones. It's not a hard thing to change. But pick your character's skin tone. And then hairstyle. And so, Kagami added a bunch of really good ones that are just nice to have, like the buzz cut. We'll have to add some more of these as well. I'm just going to pick my favorite one. Next. Now we've got a color picker for hair, which is nice. We also have some presets. If you just want your hair to be, ooh, that's a bit loud. If you want to be like a blonde, or you want to have, purple hair, blue hair, whatever. But we got a color picker now, which is really nice. So if I want to get I want to be a dark brown, sort of chestnutty, do something like that. There we go. Eye color's cool. For people that don't have the cosmetics improvements, they can just do the natural eye color for both eyes. So you can, blue eyes, you can have green eyes, you can have some sort of auburn eyes, you can have, there's a few choices that are realistic. Even the steely gray eyes you can do. They're not considered exotic. But if you get the extra cosmetics, you could have, red eyes, you could have yellow, all sorts of cool stuff, purple, etc. The other cool thing is you can have a different right eye than your left eye if you have the exotic pack. By default, it's the same. But let's say I wanted my other eye to be red. You can do that. And like I said, if you're also at the cosmetic pack, you could change the whites of your eyes, make them yellow, make them black. Kind of cool. Red, blue. Anyway, you get the idea. Go white. Next. I even thought it was important as someone's getting a first impression of the game to be able to make a genin outfit. So it doesn't have all the cosmetics in the game, but enough to have sort of casual clothes that someone that's just entering the academy would be able to get access to. Give yourself the fishnet undershirt. Second layer, give yourself sort of like a long sleeve, maybe blue. Third layer, give yourself a one sleeve or over top, maybe green, black, I don't know. Or a short sleeve over top, maybe emulate that sort of, like you've got or maybe a muscle shirt. Make it look like you're in the Anbu when you're really just wearing a muscle shirt over top. But anyway, you can see, got a few starting options at least. Still an incentive to go out and get cosmetics, because there's way more than this in the game, but it's kind of nice to be able to have your character look like not a complete noob when you first step out into the world. I'm going to leave that off. Couldn't I hoist holster? So there you go. You can do tattoos now. So tattoos, scars, facial hair. This is pretty neat. So you want to have rins, sort of patches on her face, pick a color. If that's something you're interested in. If you want Kankaro's face tattoos, more interesting if you don't have a headband on, since a lot of that's on the forehead, but you get the kind of idea. Pick different colors. Jiraiya's sort of eye, little reds under his eye, that a bit more noticeable on the sides. Take that off. If you want to have scars, let's say you want Shikaku, that's Shikamaru's dad's scars. On the one side of his face, looks kind of cool, especially with the one red eye. That's neat. You want the Kakashi scar on that side, or the other side, or you want Iruka's sort of nose scar, whatever you want to do. And then you can do facial hair too. You want a beard, big bushy beard. Well, that's more of a small beard, handlebar kind of thing, bit bushier. Yeah. And then you can change the color of the beard. It doesn't have to be the same necessarily as your hair. Maybe you want the beard to be a little darker. I don't like beards. Can't grow them in real life. Not interested. The next, you can pick your first name. You can put in a clan name. Clan name is optional if you're not in a clan, but you can certainly set one. And it'll put it in front. Follow that convention. Then you can confirm, create your Shinobi. For the administrators of the game, like the admins, we can actually export NPCs. We can use this builder to help us make nicer looking NPCs, and there's a whole set of prompts in there that will make, people like Kagami, who don't do programming typically, able to create NPCs more efficiently as well. We create our Shinobi, and we spawn. We get all the obnoxious tutorial materials. But I want to show you some cool stuff. Yes. I'm going to show you some cool stuff in the faction system as well that I'm adding in. So the factions, we've changed a lot of the UI to leverage the new Beyond features related to being able to layer on browser windows and have them have transparent backgrounds. So if you want to actually like move around your quest menu to over here, like go for it. The nice thing about this is all HTML rendered, JavaScript and HTML. So we can do sizing, we can do all sorts of stuff and make it look really nice. And the cool thing is it's all client side, so we don't have that latency of things having to pass back and forth from the server. We can have these things wherever we want. We can scale them up, whatever. The other cool thing is if I just don't want to see this, it's cluttering up my screen, I hit the little X, tucks it away over here. And this one tucks it away to Q. So I have these little, finally making use of the space a little bit just to do minimized windows like that. The other thing that's kind of cool is like, Dre's done a lot of work on improving the UI for like skill slots and that sort of thing. So you get a really good view of all your skills this way. It looks a little bit nicer. You've got some other stuff like the squad creation menu, which looks a lot better. Make team 7 there. So a lot of the UI stuff's been improved thanks to that new feature. The other cool thing is there's this faction window here now. There's a lot more depth to the faction window. You can kind of see now, you can go into roster, you can see all the members of the Leaf Village, even when they're offline. You can see their level, you can see their faction points, if they're in the Anbu or guild, their arena elo, their PvP elo, their village rank, which is a stat I'm adding and working on in terms of rewarding people outside of like numerically for doing things with the village outside of faction points and rank. And the Kage can actually appoint people to be elders, and if they're elders, they can actually do the same things that the Kage can do in terms of organizing events, creating orders for people. See, I can see events, I can see a Chunin exam, I can see, squads, which is cool. I can see the one I made, I can see one the Kage made that I was doing when I was testing. Even when he's offline, I can still see it, which is neat. Under faction, I can see, whether or not our village is under attack and partially destroyed. I can see influence, all the stuff that you can normally do. You can leave the village, all done through here. That export button's going to probably get removed. I was just testing JSON exports out of the system. But yeah, let me show you what it looks like from the Kage's perspective. Here's my new character. Yeah, the other thing we added is there are more day-night effects now, but they're more subtle. So previously, I think it went dark for a good chunk of the day-night cycle, and it was really dark. Now it's more of just like lighting effects, colors. There's a little bit of a night cycle, but it doesn't get very dark. And, if you go to places like street lamps, you can really see they punch a hole right through. They punch a hole right through that day-night effect, which is really nice. But it doesn't get very, very dark. It doesn't get to the point where it really obscures your view. It's just more atmospheric. And we also made it so the night part of the day-night cycle is very small. It's only like 15% of the total time of the day and night cycle. Most of the day and night cycle spent dusk, dawn, or clear. That way you get some nice light variations in colors, hue shifting, but you don't get obnoxious day-night obscuring your fights and messing up your views. And yes, of course, doing a little bit of fire will also punch a hole through the night, which is cool. Just fun little things like that. But let me show you, so if you're the Kage, which this character is, I can go in and I can schedule an event. I can cancel events, since that's old. I can schedule an event. Let's say I want to do a Chunin exam. I'm going to make this Chunin exam. And the cool thing about this, I can schedule it days, weeks, months in advance. I'm going to schedule it, let's say, 4 minutes in advance. Pick your time zone. Everyone can set their own time zone so it converts to the time zone they're actually used to seeing. You can see the tuning exam's been scheduled. Oh, look, it shows up in my upcoming events. Not only does it show up in my upcoming events, it counts down on a per second basis because it's within an hour of the event happening. So this can be scheduled months in advance, but within an hour, every player will see that the tuning exam is starting within 60 minutes. And it'll count down per second, and when it finishes, it'll automatically run that event. So we don't need people online to host these things. We can schedule them different time zones, all that sort of fun stuff. The other cool thing is the Kage and the can actually assign elders. So if I go to the roster and I find Dondo or Teski or whatever I want to do, I can make them an elder, make Testi an elder. And I actually can up his rank if I want to. I can make him a Chunin if I wanted to. But this character's actually never logged in. I can do all sorts of stuff with them. So if I make them an elder, the elder is the premise of when I make someone an elder, I can actually go in and give them permissions. So as the Kage, I can say, I actually want you to be able to issue orders, promote people, put them in like the Anbu, host events, even kick people. I can give people all those permissions or none of those permissions. That's really helpful. Then we don't have one point of failure for somebody like running all the events for the village. They can have a whole team. And orders are cool. I can actually make an order. It says, I want you to go and defend an area for, this is a normal priority. And I want it to be, if there was anyone else online, I could assign those people specifically, but I want it to be it's an all hands on deck mission. And I can click on the map or use my current location, or if I pre-pinned a location on my map, I could use that. But I'm going to click on the map. So I want you all to go to the desert or to the tundra here. And the mission, when it shows up on the map, see now it's there. It's an area defense. It's been issued by me for an hour. I want people to go there. So what's cool about this is now these people will see there's a mission to defend the area. The way this works right now is if someone goes there for 50% of the time, they'll be marked as having completed the mission. But basically, everyone in the village who's been assigned this is going to see this exclamation mark. That blue thing is just me clicking. But this exclamation mark on the map saying, please go here. And, hopefully they listen. But you can see it on your active orders. You can see the time limit here. You can see the tune-in exam coming up in 10 seconds, which we'll see what that does. But you can get the idea that the village elders can actually organize the village to do things and put it on their map. Okay, the tune-in exam is starting now. So now all of a sudden it's automatically been queued. It's started. This will survive reboots, obviously, that sort of thing. The event's beginning in 5 minutes. So now it moves to the tune-in exam system. People can start joining up with that. The other thing I wanted to sort of show you too is, squads are really cool. They've got passive abilities and stuff, but now that the squads are persistent, I'm hoping people actually stick with their squad long term. We have some ideas to allow you to level up your squad or otherwise improve your squad and encourage people to join squads with lower level players to help train them. Of course, that can be organized by the village. We want to create actual in-game incentives. So we can create events, we can create orders, we can see rosters of people. I can collapse it by sort of rank. I can make changes to people that are offline. I can make this guy like tune in even though they haven't done the damn exam. If they don't do the exam, I get a warning message saying no exam. This is to sort of flag to people. This guy didn't really earn the tune-in rank. The Kage or an elder gave it to them. I want to give some flexibility in how the village organizes itself. I don't want tune-in exams to be a hard stop to progression, but I do want it to be a badge of shame if you never actually pass the exam. So that's something I've done. Maybe we'll change that, some discussion to be had. I can set squads when they're offline. Say you're part of Team 7 now, baby. And now this squad will have, both of us in it. That other person I accidentally removed. But yeah, you can sort of see there's a lot of potential here to manage the village in a more convenient way. I think that's going to make the game a little bit more fun. You can see I've got the squad, arena, all that stuff. We have made some improvements to the UI on things, but not everything yet. See, like the inventory looks really great. Dre did a really good job not having a floating window anymore. But we'll keep adding to this and making it even better. Other things I've done for Season 2 that are worth mentioning. So obviously, we're adding to skills. I'm going to show you, Mokuton is really fun. I'm having a lot of fun with this one. Being able to shoot out wood tendrils and leave something on the ground. This is a really fun skill because if anyone's on these wood tendrils and I use the key that's bound to 3, it will try to trap them in that sort of effect. Let's see if I can find an NPC real quick. I'm going to mess up a village guard. Alright, this guy's here. So if I don't have him on wood tendrils, I can still trap him, but it's really slow and it's really easy to dodge. See that little smoke puff? He didn't move because he's an NPC and he's not fighting me. So I did catch him anyway. Do a few more wood tendrils out there. Great. I can also hit 4. This spawns trees in and around where those wood vines are, but it also, you'll see this little blue effect. It actually steals chakra from anyone standing on it as well. So that's a pretty cool effect. And then the other thing is, I can light the stuff on fire, and it will actually spread and do quite a bit of damage. And that despawn there. Did be pretty quick. Let me pull up this other skill that I forgot to put on my bar. This one's fun. Just the ability to sort of try to catch someone in a cool tree effect. They get a pretty good warning. If there are roots already there, it speeds up the effect. But generally speaking, there we go. Caught you in the trees. Pretty fun. Also, I've redone Amaterasu. I'm going to show you the day-night transitions real quick. I have a key bound that'll just like quickly cycle through all the different phases. There you go. You got clear, dusk. It's a bit warmer. Bit of light beams. You got dusk cool. It's getting to be nighttime-ish. You got night. Kind of already saw that. You got deep night. This is a very brief phase because it's actually quite hard to see. And then later in the night, it's a bit more twilight hours. You got dawn. Now it's a bit rosier. Still a bit dark. You get clear, but you got some sun rays. Kind of hard to see. They're very subtle. You got some beams now. They're kind of parallax as you run around. They kind of move slightly. And here's night with like the moonlight shining down, and dusk warm with some beams. And then here's dawn with like a lot of effects just shown. And then here's clear. Anyway, what else I wanted to show was the jumping system. So you can actually now, this is kind of novel, you can actually hop into trees. You can just jump up simply by walking towards them and getting stuck on them for about like a half of a second. It'll automatically trigger a leap. And you can actually stay at that higher plane and go on things like, rooftops and that sort of thing. So you feel like a bit more of a ninja. It does respect the direction you're trying to go more or less. So then it's pretty easy to get down if you want to. Also, if someone hits you and you're in combat, you can jump down, but you can't jump back up again. So it's not meant to be a get out of jail free card. It's not meant to be that obnoxious as a runaway thing. It's also not meant to be faster than running on the ground, because obviously it takes time to do that little leap effect. But what it does is it makes the game a whole hell of a lot less frustrating. So, instead of getting constantly stuck on little obstacles, it's a lot easier to hop over them. If you want to go on this, wall, you can. Looks pretty nice. Go behind the tree still. You want to climb some mountains, you can do so. You can even climb on the Kage's faces. So I think this is going to make the game a lot more fun to traverse. Fingers crossed. So between being able to climb and all these UI improvements and adding a whole bunch of new skills, like obviously Season 2, one of the big things is we're going to have all the fusions added. We are working away at those. They're looking pretty good. I'm not going to show all of those off. That probably deserves its own video. I will show you some skills have an alternative fire mode that I've added recently for aiming. Like I have Amaterasu attached to my skill bar right now. If I don't actually know where someone is and I just want to zone a certain area, I hold the skill card and it'll actually go to an aim. And just by moving it around, I can sort of decide where I want to aim the skill very specifically. This comes in handy for certain things, not everything. So it's very specific to the skill. Amaterasu is a zoning skill, and it has a lot to do with aiming. The other cool thing about it is if I did have someone targeted, my target would be biased towards them, would more quickly snap to that player or that NPC. So it does a ton of damage. The trick with Amaterasu is it's not like it doesn't immediately show up. So the person, if they're running around, it's hard to land. But you can see my targeter is automatically following this guy. I can still snap off of him if I want to, but it's biased towards my target because that's the way it works. Kind of neat. Anyway, I'm going to do some more videos as I polish up the new skills and work through all this new content. But Season 2 is looking pretty good so far. We're going to have, like I said, we're going to have 100 levels to get to. We're going to have the fusions available to you. We're going to have a bunch of new skills, some new cosmetics. Kagami's been doing a great job making the map a lot more fun to move around on. Oops, I had the map expanded this whole time. So, you know, a lot of quality of life improvements to the map. It looks prettier. It has less dead ends. It has less obstacles. With jumping around, it's not going to be frustrating. So I think getting around to mission locations can be more fun. With the village management system, it's going to be easier to coordinate people. We're going to have a lot of endgame content because unlocking fusions is going to require double masteries. It's going to require you to be in the late game. We're going to have a whole system for getting late game skills that are less driven on, you know, levels and more driven on, you know, progressing through content and actually participating in the game. So I think you're going to like the build variety that introduces, having fusions and S ranks, summons, all that fun stuff. So we're working away now at the skill side of things. That's going to be more of a focus for the next little bit. But as you can see, you know, the game has taken a pretty good quantum leap forward. Oh, one thing I did want to show is we made water prettier, added some reflections. I just hit the button to make it go through the day-night cycle because I think it illustrates. So you got reflections, you know, we've got the pond ripples, which we used to have, but the reflections are really nice. It just adds a lot to the ambience of the game. So I think, you know, with the new map and the new effects we're doing, you know, SOA is going to be, for a Beyond game, an extremely pretty game. Anyway, looking forward to sharing more with you.